Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So thanks very much everyone for being here. As I was saying, this is a postgraduate webinar all about the postgraduate programs offered in sociology here at University College Cork. My name is Phil Neville, and I'm the EU Postgraduate Recruitment Officer for UCC's College of Arts, Celtic Studies and Social Sciences. And just a bit of housekeeping before we get started. The session will be recorded and I will share the recording with you afterwards, and also to anybody who had registered but wasn't able to attend live. So each of our presenters will talk us through one of the programs offered here at UCC. We'll also hear from some of our current and previous students. And at the end, we should have some time for a Q&A. So at the top of your screen, you'll see there's a Q&A box. So if you have any questions as we go through, you can add your question there, and we'll pick up as many of those as we can at the end. So thanks very much. And to get us started, I just wanted to say a few words about University College Cork, because I know we've got attendees who are joining us from outside of Cork and outside of Ireland, and you're all very welcome to the session here today. The university was established in 1845 as Queen's College Cork and is based 15 minutes away from Cork City. And we're actually marking our 180th anniversary this year. The central campus is based on 42 acres of wooded ground with different universities nearby and within Cork City as well. And the image on your right there is of our main quadrangle, or the quad as it's known. And it's a tradition for our students to get a photo taken on the quad with their diploma on the day of their graduation. But it is also meant to be bad luck to walk across the quad before you finish your studies. So if anyone is joining us in September, and we hope you do, just keep that in mind as well. And in terms of our student population, we're home to over 25,000 students with almost 5,000 international students from over 100 countries. We're also a very green university, and last year we were awarded our 5th green flag in recognition of the university's ongoing efforts to promote sustainability and biodiversity on campus. We were also named the 4th most sustainable university in the 2024 UI Green Metric rankings. So they're both accolades that we're quite proud of, and rightly so. And our students have access to over 50 clubs or 100 societies, so they can really get involved in a wide range of sports and activities that are important to them. And I did just want to highlight on the right there, there's just an image of George Boole, who was the first professor of mathematics here at UCC and laid the foundation for the information age with his work on Boolean algebra. There's also a bust of George Boole just outside the library, and it is meant to be good luck to give his nose a rub on that bust before your exams. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but you can see that students seem to take it seriously enough anyway. And to give you an idea of the campus as well, this is an aerial view of the main campus here at UCC. Right in the middle is the quad building, the oldest part of the university, but also nearby are the student centre, the library, and other university buildings nearby too. And just next to the River Lee, is the Mardyke Sports Complex, which is about a 10-minute walk from the main campus. And just a quick note as well on where we are. So Cork is the southernmost city in Ireland. We're located about 20 minutes away from Cork International Airport, so we're well connected. But we're also about 3 hours by bus or car from Dublin. Easy to access as well are other cities around the country like Galway and Limerick. And we're about an hour by car or bus from East and West Cork, which are very scenic parts of Cork, and pretty much on your doorstep as well. Or like I was saying, if you're looking to go a little further afield while you're studying here, the international airport is about 20 minutes away and well connected to the UK and to mainland Europe as well. Okay, and after that very brief introduction to UCC, I'm happy to introduce our first presenter. I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Gemma Klope Santa Maria, who is the MA in Sociology Program Director. Thanks very much, Gemma.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil, for that wonderful introduction. And it's interesting for me as well to learn more about UCC. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And thank you, everyone else that will see this recording later on. As Phil was mentioning, my name is Gemma Klope Santa Maria. I'm a lecturer in the Sociology and Criminology department, and I also have the pleasure of being the director of the MA in Sociology program here at UCC. So what I wanted to do today is to give you an overview of the program, the strengths of the program, and what do we offer to you, and why we believe that we have a very vibrant program and community here at UCC and in our department. Next, Phil, thank you. Okay, so what do we offer? I would highlight a few things. The first is to say that the MA in Sociology at UCC is a program that is focused on cutting-edge advanced sociology models and topics. It is really tailored towards the students on research interest and projects. So at the center of the program, it's really like you and what drives you, like the type of research that you're passionate about, the type of topics that you would like to explore. The other thing I would mention is that the program very much reflects and builds upon the areas of expertise of our vibrant faculty. And if you take a look at the website, you visit the website, you will realize that many of us work at the intersection of several topics that are quite relevant to understanding the world today, from feminism, violence, sustainability, far-right politics, and migration. So I would say that overall, what we are offering is an opportunity to reflect, make sense, and contribute to understanding emerging social challenges. Next. Now, what is the structure of the program? As I said, like the program is very much centered on the students and on the students' own research interests. So in that way, what we have is only 2 core models that you need to take, and those core models are, one is advanced sociological theory, and the other one is sociological methods. Then students get to choose amongst key optional models, which include several topics such as feminist epistemologies, alcohol and society, sustainability, and immobilities. I am excited to announce that we have 2 new brand models that will be offered next academic year, and those include populism and the far right, which, as I'm sure that you know, it's a very relevant topic to understand the world today. And the other one is sociology of violence and conflict, which I will be delighted to be teaching next academic year. Next. So there are themes that really cut across all the models, and again, that I believe will give you as students the tools to understanding some of the key challenges of the world today. And those include power, powerlessness, and marginalization, violence, harm, and crime. We also reflect on the social cost and consequences of our social, economic, and technological systems. And of course, even though many of the topics that we're studying are quite difficult or refer to key challenges that we are facing as a society, we're also hoping to open a conversation about where are the grounds for optimism and hope in this 21st century. The other thing that I would like to highlight, and that I'm sure is going to be of interest to many of you, is that really the department's strength, and therefore the MA, what offers is a strong toolkit to apply qualitative methodologies and qualitative approaches. So all of us have a very strong background in theory, especially in critical social theory, but many of us also work from history and genealogy or genealogical approaches, as well as the use of ethnographic methods, and feminist methodologies. So you will have a solid foundation in terms of methods from qualitative approaches. Next. Now, in addition to those models that I referred to, including the core models and then those that you get to select amongst a variety of topics, there is one model that is the dissertation in sociology model. So I'm also excited to announce that we have made some changes to this dissertation in sociology model. What we have right now, we used to have a longer format of the dissertation that was up to 20,000 words. Now we have redesigned it in order to encourage students to produce an 8 to 10,000 words dissertation that is at the length that would be publishable in a journal article or in a peer review article. So we are trying to encourage our students to, to have a view or a perspective towards being able to promote, publicize, and really share their work and publish their work, and we will help them to do this. In addition to this dissertation, in this dissertation in sociology model, you will work in 3 different items. One is a conference presentation that is aimed at encouraging you to present orally and feel comfortable speaking to a public audience and to reflect on your work. The other one is a public sociology project that can be a report, a blog, a podcast. I'm including a few snapshots of like recent articles that some of us in the faculty have published either at the conversation or at other like public outlets. So I think it's important to produce academic works that are readable or that are legible to a wider audience. So we want to encourage our students to engage in this sort of like public sociology projects and be comfortable communicating their findings or their interest for a wider audience that might not be an expert in sociology. And then finally, a book review, which is a more traditional sort of like a output that us as sociologists and social scientists tend to work on. And again, like our students in the past, like they have explored a wide variety of topics from climate change to the Me Too movement to health conditions. So again, like very wide, and I want to emphasize again that at the center are the students and their interests. Next. So fly to join us at UCC, and I'm reaching the end of my presentation here. Again, like every model can be tailored to your own interest or specialization. The classes are designed and the faculty are there to give you the tools that you need to develop your own research. So we will work with you in giving you the concepts, the data, the theories, the methodologies that you will need. I will also highlight that students get to participate in the small groups and seminar-style conversations. So the space is quite intimate. We get to have like very engaging conversations and discussions between faculty and the students and amongst the students themselves. And then finally, I would say our program offers key transferable skills, from public speaking, generating and analyzing data, developing ideas, and designing and implementing large-scale projects. Next. I would say that we have very positive feedback from previous MA students that have enjoyed their experience here, that believe that the approach from the faculty are fresh, and again, that the environment that the seminars have are very relaxed, but also very engaging. Next. So we encourage you to apply. So if you have an interest in sociology and related disciplines, and again, if you have also like a sociology background or on a related subject, and if you want to continue studying sociology at an advanced level, please feel free to contact me. My name is, again, Gema Clope Santa Maria. My email is listed there. And of course, also, I encourage you to apply and to contact my colleague, Jer Mulali, who will speak after my presentation, if you're interested in the MA in Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. Next. So thank you so much. And again, feel free to contact me. That is my email. I'm also on social media, on X with that handle. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, Gema, for talking us through that program. And yeah, really good to highlight that some of the pieces that you and your colleagues have been writing to make your research and the work that the department does kind of more accessible to people beyond the university too. And also seeing with the 2 new modules as well, that program is really adapting to the world around us, for better or for worse. Thanks very much. So as Gema said, I'll hand over now to Dr. Jer Mulali to talk us through the MA in Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. Thanks very much, Jer.
Great, thanks, Philip, and thank you very much, Gema. So, Philip, if you turn to the first slide, please. So just to put the program in context, the Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges officially began in 2022, but in reality, it began in 1990 as the MA in the Sociology of Development. And the key theme at that time was Cork and the wider world. Now, this wasn't about a particular type of parochialism, but really it was about looking at the interrelationship between the global and the local. In 2005, in order to reflect that, the Masters was restructured as the Sociology of Development and Globalization. Philip, in his opening presentation, mentioned the importance of sustainability to University College Cork. So to reflect the wider commitment to sustainability and indeed the content of the module, it was changed to the Masters in the Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. Now, there's a certain degree of crossover with Hema's presentation here, but I'll just very briefly go through some key elements. So Philip, could you get the next slide, please? So the basic structure of the course is that there are a number of compulsory modules in methodology, where you will be exposed to a wide range of members of staff looking primarily at qualitative methodologies that will enable you to do your research and to work towards your dissertation. Then there's the Sociology of Sustainable Development, which I teach, and then the Social Theory and Climate Justice. I should point out that all of the participants, all of the lecturers that contribute to the course are extremely active in a variety of different research projects and regularly publish their work. I've just picked some examples of elective modules. There are many more available. So there's feminist epistemologies, there's immobilities, so looking at the issue of forced migration and belonging, and then the new module that's offered by Hema, the Sociology of Violence and Conflict. Now, Hema has outlined the changes in 2025, so in the coming semester, in terms of doing a shorter dissertation, but then integrating various different types of outputs. Next slide, please, Philip. Now, occasionally the Masters has been linked to a variety of different summer schools and seminars. We have Global Goals, Local Actions, which was a summer school held here in University College Cork in 2018. More recently, we've had seminars in Colombia, and over many years, it's fed into the Economy and Society Summer School here. So there are opportunities in addition to the actual program to engage with other students, particularly those on a path to a PhD. Next slide, please, Philip. So in terms of the graduate outcomes, the MA in the Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges is really aimed at people who are looking for professional growth or new career options. And our students, our graduates, have gone in a number of different directions over the last number of years. In the discussion segment a little bit later on, we'll meet two of those students. So quite often our students go on to work in education and research. They work in various different facets of media, print media, broadcast, and so on. In the civil service, various different types of social services, public administration, non-governmental organizations. And we've had a few students as well that have started businesses of their own in relation to training particularly around sustainability issues. Next slide, please, Philip. So Hema has already gone through some of the requirements. So the basic requirement for entry here is a second-class honours grade 1, not just in sociology, but in a variety of different cognate subjects that are relevant to the Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. We will consider entry for people with a second-class honours grade 2 and a primary honours degree under a recognition of prior learning, subject to an expression of interest and an interview in order to gain admission. And in some exceptional circumstances, then substantial professional experience in a related field of development may be acceptable for entry. Next slide, Phil. So details of the closing date and the relevant code are posted here. Philip will be giving you additional information afterwards. You can contact me at the email address there. That's g.mullally@ucc.ie. Next slide, please, Philip. Okay, so in a moment, we're going to move into a discussion with some students that have graduated from the programs or are currently on the programs. One of the things I just want to point out with this slide is that many of the staff here and many of the students go on to work in research projects in a variety of different institutes within UCC, including the Sustainability Institute, and including things like the Collective Social Futures program. So, Philip, I'll go back over to you, and maybe we'll hear from some of the students. You're
Thanks
on
very
mute.
much, Ger. No, I'm back. Thanks very much, Ger. Yes, so thank you for talking us through that program, Ger, which, as you've said, has been really at UCC in one form or another for a long time, so it's well established. And yeah, very happy to welcome some of our current and previous MA students here to speak to us today about their experience of studying, excuse me, a Master's in Sociology here at UCC. So I'd like to introduce Ross Boyd and Jodie Moore-Ponce from the MA in Sociology, Dr. Evan Boyle and Rebecca Huerty from the MA in Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. And I suppose maybe to start us off, I might ask, Evan and Jodie, who both completed the program in recent years and moved on to doctoral study, just to tell us a bit more about, completing the MA at UCC and how that supported your current and future goals as well in research. Thank you.
Will I start?
Ross, Evan, yes, or do you want to go first? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So I suppose my experience in terms of studying sociology in UCC started with my undergraduate. I was studying English and sociology as a joint honours. And then I left for a number of years and I came back in my mid-20s. I suppose I had to pique my interest in sociology as a way of understanding the world, understanding yourself within the world. And then when I came back for a master's, I had a more specific interest in employing maybe some of the tools of sociology and some of the theoretical models to something more specific, I suppose. And within that, the module at the time was development and globalization, but within that there was a focus on environmental sustainability. So that was where I had the most interest. And from the beginning of going into that process, I had a clear sense that what I wanted to achieve from it was to continue in that sort of research space. So I had a sense of what my goal within that was. And through that, I suppose, the department staff were made aware of that by me. And through that, I guess there's a lot of support in terms of understanding what my, I suppose, goals were within doing the course and being able to apply it then specifically to those goals.
Can you tell us a bit about the research that you've completed since finishing the MA?
Yeah, so I suppose it started off an interest in looking at processes of change in relation to kind of the energy transition and a changing energy system, and also wider sustainability beyond that. From the MA, I went on to work as a research assistant for a year, which is a really good experience in terms of the kind of professional, working as a researcher in a job sense for the first time, which was a very good experience and kind of set me up to know that I like it. And then that also led on to undertaking a PhD, which Ger was my supervisor for as well, which was based, was kind of an action research project. So working with communities and individuals outside of academia on kind of real world challenges and kind of looking for solutions in practice, whilst also coming back to the university with those kind of more research objective focused outputs and kind of theoretical insights there. And that was a project based in the southwest of Ireland, looking at kind of rural sustainability. And then on from that, I've moved on to kind of postdoc, again with a focus on energy transitions at the moment, looking at infrastructural developments and also looking at climate justice in relation to climate action within the city of Cork. So went kind of from the rural to the urban, but all kind of stemming out of that process of getting into the masters with a clear sense. You know, it's different to the undergrad in the sense that it's now yours to take on a little bit more. And I feel like the masters really set me up to move in that direction.
Great, thanks so much, Evan, for talking us through that. And I suppose, like you're saying, the area of research that you're in now, climate justice and climate change, it's been, you know, very real for a lot of people in Ireland as well. It's not something that's just out there, having had, you know, Storm Mayo and recently that knocks so many people off the power grid. Incredibly current research that you're doing. And Jody, we might move to you now to hear a bit, you know, about your experience of the MA and the kind of research that you've been doing as part of your doctoral study.
Sure. Yeah, so I did my MA in 2020. It was during the pandemic. And I was the mom of 3 very young children. And those of you who have kids, you know, when you have young children, it's sort of all consuming, but also you don't really get to use your brain in a way that I don't know, I was like desperate to do. And so I just knew I had to do something to occupy my mind. And so I did the MA. So maybe that's not the best approach, but it was the one I took. And I mean, in conjunction with wanting to just study and use my mind, there were things that I was observing in the world that were kind of confusing to me or troubling. And I guess particularly around social justice activism and maybe around the deployment of phrases like lived experience and the high kind of contestation too in these spaces, the kind of, you know, toxic Twitter sphere or whatever. And I was interested in pursuing something about that. And in doing my MA year, those ideas kind of became clearer, and I gained an education on many of these things, and I began to understand better why things were happening the way they were happening and why the world was so polarized. And I was able to kind of hone my interest in a way that was more clear. And the wonderful thing about doing an MA is that you get a supervisor. And I guess maybe you might have experienced having a supervisor to a degree in your final year project of your undergraduate, but it is more involved when you do an MA. And so I got Tom Boland as my supervisor because I don't know how it is now, but they just assign you one back then. And yeah, it was just a really cool thing to have a supervisor and to have kind of a mentor and a person who really reads all of your work and guides you and corrects you and gives you endless feedback. But you know, it's to me it's a real privilege to have had a kind of an academic mentor in my life. Like a lot of people don't get to have that, and so it's a really shaping experience. And then, you know, also to have Tom like very supportive and very interested in my work, and you know, kind of really, getting behind my project. And we got to, at the end of my MA, we got to publish a journal article together based on my MA research in the European Journal of Social Theory. So that was very educational for me again to experience going through the process of publishing the journal article, and kind of doing that with Tom was like a good scaffold for me to begin with. And then just because I had a lot of support and encouragement from the department and from Tom, who was, you know, encouraging me to continue my research, I went on to do my PhD, which I just submitted at Christmas time, and I'm waiting now for my Viva in the next few weeks. And again, that's been a really rich experience. It's difficult to do a PhD, but it's also kind of a privilege to get to study something that you're so interested in. I remember when I first started my MA, people would use the phrase "my research." Oh, my research involves this or that, and it just seems so foreign to say "my research." But now I throw that phrase around like I own it. But yeah, to pursue my research and things that I'm interested in for these years has just been really a really cool experience. And if you do the MA, you'll get to experience that too. And yeah, I just found out recently that I have another solo journal article published in a good sociological journal. So it's really great to get to tick these boxes and get to do these milestones. And now I just have to do my Viva and get a job. So wish me luck. That's it.
Thanks, Jodie. Yeah, and great to hear that the MA really gave you that insight into the support of a supervisor and, you know, getting the first-hand experience at the end of your MA of publishing in a journal, you know, with your supervisor and taking the research on to PhD level then. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, and I did mention we have a couple of our current students as well, or current or just very recent graduates too from the MA. So I'll hand you over as well to Ross and Rebecca, who are both doing one of the programs each. So I think maybe to start, and Rebecca, I think you can unmute yourself as well, and we can hear you in a second too. But maybe you could tell us a bit about yourselves and why you decided to study your respective MAs here at UCC. Maybe Ross, do you want to go first?
Yes, I can go first for sure. So yes, I suppose I wanted to do the Masters in Sociology for myself because I have a bit of a background in doing sociology as an undergraduate in Dublin. And when I initially finished my degree, I took a bit of a break off doing 2 years working full time, did a gap year. And through doing that gap year, it made me sort of think about what I wanted to do in the future. Do I want to get a job? And for me personally, the job market wasn't looking very optimistic at the time. So I always went, what are my options then because of that? So I know I'd done a bit of sociology before, and when I saw the Masters, I wanted to sort of look at it and have an intrigue. And then I went down to Cork on the postgraduate open day this time last year, about a month ago, and saw and met, I think, some of the professors there and knew it was for me then. And I think I haven't regretted it once. I am technically from the fake capital, as we call it here in Dublin, with Cork obviously is the real capital, but at the same time, so that moving was supposed to be one thing that way, but having that experience actually study the course and actually reading good, I think, for a couple of reasons. I think most importantly, I think the professors make it as good as it is. I think that's very much the experience of actually being able to have a more personal relationship with your professors and doctors, very much doctorates as well, is actually incredible to have that sort of experience, and especially having those meetings, you can actually learn more, you're encouraged to ask more questions. And what I also found really inspiring as well is that a lot of what has been said previously about taking learnings outside the classroom is true, but also even to beyond the fact that the classroom is taken outside of the classroom as well, that you go on these walks around Cork and actually learn about the city while also learning about the degree. So you get to learn about really interesting experiences that you may just walk past by every single day, but actually able to connect that to sociology in particular is really good. On the supervisor side as well, especially starting to work on my dissertation, is definitely a lot of fun. It is quite intense at times for me personally, but very much it is incredibly rewarding, especially seeing the work you put in and how much you do put in, but very much it is based on your interests, it is based on sort of your passions, and being able to write about that and be supported throughout it is very good. And particularly, especially with sort of the supports in sort of many ways through the disability service, especially working with Green Campus and sustainability and having that activism side to that means you are doing a lot, but you are just doing a lot that is giving it back to you. And I think that's what my experience is, but especially in having a way that you sort of have that way of overall coming back to like the professors, and very much there is no such thing as a silly question. There's no such way of knowing about what you want to do. Very much you are allowed to explore these questions even if you're not sure about anything that you may be learning about initially, and actually have that experience and then be the best version of yourself. So very much from my own experience and my other classmates' experience, very much we all love doing the Master's Sociology. Very excited to see the changes next year, particularly, and being published in that way, which I'm incredibly jealous able to get to do. But certainly for sure, it's very much one I can highly recommend, especially for me, even as someone who's Dublin, I can recognise Cork and UCC in particular has some great advantages as well. So for sure.
Great, thanks, Ross. And yeah, I suppose that's really good to know. Your own background as well was, you'd studied some sociology before, and it was something that you kind of came back to because you were drawn to it clearly. And yeah, I suppose I didn't mention that at the start, that we like to joke that we're the real capital down here in Cork as opposed to Dublin, but no, I don't give Dublin a hard time. I like Dublin too, but I do prefer Cork. Thanks. And Rebecca, I think you're on with us as well. You've completed the MA in Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges. So maybe you tell us a bit as well about your your study history and what led you to this MA here at UCC.
Yeah, so I did the Sociology of Sustainability and Global Challenges Masters. I just finished it in October. I'll be graduating this March. My background was in psychology for my undergrad. I took a few years off after finishing that. I was working in schools. I was got really interested in environmental education. And when I decided I wanted, excuse me, when I decided I wanted to come back to school, I wanted to try to find something that I could kind of combine all of these different experiences into. And one of the things that really stood out to me about this particular program is that it's sustainability based in social sciences. I'm not a hard science person in any way, shape, or form. And a lot of environmental education or sustainability masters that I was looking at do kind of have that basis. So finding this was kind of like, I don't know, it made a lot of sense for me to choose this one because it fit with exactly what I wanted. And I think, like some of the others have said, there was a lot of freedom throughout the masters to kind of tie in different interests that I had and to kind of make it my own in that way. I was able to do research on like ecological grief and immigration and education as well, and then kind of tie a lot of that all together into my dissertation in the end, which is something that I really appreciated. And it was encouraged throughout the whole masters to find our interests and to look into those and to not focus solely on just like sustainability on its own, to branch out and to see what else is out there. So yeah.
Like you say, Rebecca, you're graduating next month, and congratulations in advance. And was there a certain area that you focused on for your master's dissertation? And I know you spoke about bringing your interests together in ecological grief, education, your background in psychology. What was your dissertation on?
So my dissertation ended up looking at education for sustainable development and how that connects to access to green spaces on college campuses, as well as the connection that has to mental emotional well-being. So it did kind of bring these three separate fields that I was able to look into throughout the whole year and bring it all together into one final project.
Thanks, Rebecca. And yeah, I suppose that chimes very loudly in UCC, given the campus that it is, and a green flag campus as well. And Ross, I know you're probably up the walls with assignments and everything right now, and you'll be starting your dissertation soon enough once classes end next month. And have you kind of decided on the area that you're going to go in for your piece of dissertation, your research?
Yes, so for myself, I'm actually just got my supervisor just a few weeks ago and had my first meeting with Dr. Les Fitzgerald, actually just like 2 weeks ago, in fact. And very much more of my research is going to be looking at found family and non-romantic relationships. So particularly looking, from my own background as someone queer, very much looking at sort of relationships beyond sort of the binary of romantic relationships, and very much looking at sort of alternative relationships beyond that. So doing a lot of work, but certainly a lot of reading and so far manageable work.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, sounds great. I think we can all kind of identify with that idea of the found family and friends being the family you choose for yourself and things like that. Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much. Thanks so much to you both for giving us just an outline of your time on the program. So I think we can maybe take a look and see if there's a few questions that anybody would like to go through. Just going to check the Q&A box now. No questions in just yet. We might give it another minute or so and just see if some questions do come in. Conscious, I know some of our presenters need to head off either to teach, you know, to or the commitments as well. So if there's no questions in, you know, in the next minute or so, we can certainly just draw the session to a close there. Hopefully it's given everyone a good overview of each of the programs. Okay, just a comment coming through there. So somebody's saying they're quite interested in how various departments interact on sustainability, and give a cross-disciplinary focus. So maybe, Ger, is that one you could talk about, where, you know, your own department interacts with others as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a long history of cooperation, primarily through research projects, where we combine researchers from right across the university. Typically, we work quite a lot with engineers, but we work with people with a policy focus in government, for example. But we've also worked with people in the medical faculty as well, particularly in public health. So the foundations for the program are built in kind of research cooperations and also teaching cooperations as well with colleagues from right across the university. What we bring, I suppose, is that social science perspective, but of course that's only one part of a much wider picture.
Thanks, Ger. Yeah, and I suppose, yeah, like you say, with the input from medicine, engineering, and public health as well, kind of all feeding into the program, feeding into those research projects. Thank you for taking us through that. Let's take a look now and see if we have any other questions popping up. Okay, well, I think if there's no other questions coming into us just now, everybody's had their questions answered, hopefully, during the presentation, and learned a lot from our presenters, learned a lot from our current and previous students too, sharing their experiences of studying sociology at postgraduate level at UCC. So hopefully you've all got a good sense of that. So like I say, I'll be able to follow up in the next week or so with the recording if you want to watch any of the session back. I'll also include some links with that might be helpful for your application, like the application portal, UCC Apply, as well as maybe for people who are watching from outside of Ireland, we do have a very useful comparison page as well for you to check qualifications. Yeah, because I'm just seeing actually a last minute question on international student requirements there. So there's a page that I can send on to you with comparisons of different education systems and what UCC would accept from different places. I can pop that in the chat for now, actually, but also English language requirements as well for anybody whose first language is not English. That's just something to bear in mind as well. I'm just going to pop that in the chat very quickly there for you to access that. And yeah, if you have any questions, you'll be able to follow up with either myself or any of the program directors that have been speaking today. So thanks very much again to Emma and Ger for making time, and to Jody, Evan, Ross, and Rebecca as well for sharing your perspective with us. And thanks you for watching, for being here with us, and if you're watching back as well.
And thank you, Philip, for organising today.
No problem at all. My pleasure. Glad to help shout about all things postgraduate at UCC here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone. Bye for now.